Okay, I just wanted to make a quick proof of concept video to demonstrate how we might uh, design a custom abutment knowing the manufacturer's specification for the internal connection, which I don't, I've just guessed at this kind of conical thing, but that can be a placeholder for a fixture which we could know very accurately, and then also our crown form, which we've designed based on our intraoral scan. So now the problem is we have this implant aligned this way, and we might want our insertion axis to be this way. Another obvious use, this might be for a bridge, where you have multiple implants placed with different insertions. So the first thing I'll do is I'll come in here to edit mode, and I'll borrow this loop of vertices by duplicating them and then separating them. Just keep ourselves organized. I'll just clear all the vertex groups. I'll then join that. You can see where I practiced this once before. I'll join that to this connector that I've made. So now when we enter edit mode, we have this ring of vertices and this architecture here, which we would be able to identify these beforehand. We select these and then hold shift and select these, which is what I meant to do. We can then bridge them like so. Okay, and we can make sure that our bridging is well aligned. Okay, so that's the first step, is connecting this to this. We could then go and kind of adjust our contours however we wanted to, but for now I'm just going to stick with this. The next thing we want to do is, if we view this from above, we could extrude this and then scale them in. Alright, so that gives us a nice shelf. We can scale them a little more if we wanted more surface area for our crown to rest on. And then what I'll do is I'll use a tool which I wrote, so you won't have this. That's called hole filler. All it does is repeatedly extrude, scale, extrude, scale. So, but it also removes doubles along the way. So here's our filled hole. So I'll come over here to our modifier panel for our custom abutment that we've made. I'm going to add a shrink wrap modifier, but I'm going to add a certain type. I'm going to add it before we do the multi-res. I'm going to project it in the Z direction, positive Z direction, and only this filled hole vertex group. Granted, my function made that vertex group for me. And then we'll have it project onto the tooth. We want to look at this while we're in edit mode. So our taper is going to be defined by the distance between here and here. So if we wanted more taper, we could just scale these in a little bit, or less taper, scale them out. So no taper, lots taper. I'll have a little more. Furthermore, we don't want this right up to the surface of our crown, so we'll maybe offset it 1.5 millimeters. So far so good. We'll notice that this is kind of rounded, and that's because of the subdivision in our multi-resolution. If we want to keep this edge sharp, select it and crease that edge. Now we see that we maintain our sharpness. And if we don't like quite how, that's a pretty sharp angle, that might concentrate a lot of stress in our restoration, we can either go in and smooth that by hand, or I like modifiers because they seem to be they're a little more adjustable. Put it above our multi-resolution, and we'll make sure it's focused just on the filled hole group. And then we can kind of control that as much as we want. There you have it. A custom abutment designed between the implant and the designed restoration in 5 minutes.